Does being traded on a futures exchange decrease volatility, or does it have no?
It's meant to.
Yeah.
It's the ideal futures contract is for something that has a lot of volatility that people are looking to manage. So in that sense, the cryptocurrencies are absolutely ideal. And it's too soon to know, but if you look at the last month or two of trading, it does seem that there's been less volatility than there was in the fall when it was spiking up really to crazy levels.
And has there been more institutional investment? Is there greater quote unquote credibility? I saw Jamie Dimon went from saying it was a fraud or it was illegitimate to all of a sudden softening his stance on it. Any additional signs of legitimacy or it entering the mainstream?
There are not any investment companies that are putting products out in the market for regular consumers. This really hasn't been permitted yet by the SEC and other regulators. There's a lot of interest in this, and I think you're going to eventually see this happen in another country if it doesn't happen in the US. But the big asset management firms still don't have products on the market that are directly based on crypto. I think the best you can do is indirectly invest by looking at the companies in the mainstream that are vendors who are making the mining equipment, the special chips, or who are introducing blockchain enterprise solutions to people in the logistics business. You can earn their stocks, and that probably makes a lot of sense if you're a believer in the underlying technology.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the ratio of legitimacy and value of Bitcoin, sort of the big kahuna, versus the altcoins. What are the trends? So for example, I saw Bitcoin was up 6% today, but Ethereum was down 1%, and I think Litecoin was down. So it seems like there's a bit of a diversion.
Well, they are not particularly correlated with each other. This is surprising because you would think that these would more or less move as a group, but each has its own business case. And even last year when Bitcoin was way up, there were others that rose considerably more. Ripple, for instance, was one of the big success stories. And also, I think Ethereum rose by a factor of 30 last year, some ungodly return. But at any given time, there are issues of technology and regulation that may apply more to one coin or token than to others, and so you're not going to see them move in lockstep, and they don't necessarily serve as hedges against each other either.
So if Bitcoin is meant to be...
They bring up a great point here where, if you've watched this channel, I've been preaching this nonstop, that diversification is key because, there is the argument, do I buy Bitcoin? Do I buy altcoins? What altcoin do I buy? And for the most part, Bitcoin is kind of like an ETF or index fund of the cryptocurrency market because, how Bitcoin does do for the most part does affect the cryptocurrency market. But obviously there are, they made the point in the interview that each one has its own case for business and also how it's going to be regulated. Certain coins might be seen as security, some coins might be currency, so some coins could just be a donation or a joke like Dogecoin or Dogecoin or whatever you want to call it. So my rule of thumb, if someone asks me is, do I invest in Bitcoin or do I invest in altcoins, I say both. Percentage wise, I think you can't go wrong with half of your portfolio being in Bitcoin, but if you believe in other altcoins or you have more information, go ahead and skew it. But I do feel like the way to go is 50-50. And if you don't really want to follow the market, you don't really want to pay attention, I would say load up on more Bitcoin. So if you do not want to kind of learn about the technology or all these different projects, then maybe go 70%, 60% Bitcoin, and then maybe, the rest of it split it around. But let me know what you guys think on this part. And if you do want to see this interview, I put it in the like section of the channel, and it's a pretty long one, and you won't see it on this segment, but it looks like it's a little bit old. If you watch my previous videos on this interview, they mentioned Bitcoin's price at 11,000, so it is a little bit old, but it was posted, at least now that I'm commenting on it, it was posted today, but it might be a little old, but it's all good. The content I share most of the time is usually at least it's going to be at least some sort of delay or drag time. But thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.